Hey Credit Warriors, Credit Shifu here. Now the Democrats have just released the text of their new HEROS Act, the next coronavirus stimulus bill. It's $3 trillion and it is 1,800 pages long. Here it is. Actually, that's not it. That's just blank paper I took out of the printer. But it really is over 1,800 pages long. But anyway, we're going to go through it here, and before you ask, yes, it does include a second stimulus check. But first, my name is Ben, aka The Credit Shifu, and on this channel I share with you my own personal financial journey and I help you with yours because we are all in this together. If you like the sound of that, please subscribe to the channel. Now let's get moving. Now the bill does include money for things like expanded testing and stuff like that. I'm not going to focus on the medical stuff and just on the economic stuff because that's what we cover on this channel, economics and finance. So the first economic item is funding for states and local governments. I'll go through this one quite quickly. The bill includes $500 billion for states, $375 billion for local governments, $20 billion for tribal communities, and $20 billion for US territories, for example, Puerto Rico, those kind of places. Now this is far higher than what was in the first CARES Act for states and local governments, and also quite a bit higher than what was predicted. I think it was predicted $750 billion that the Democrats were going to ask for. It actually comes in at more like around $915 billion, almost $1 trillion for states and local governments. But that's something that affects your state and local government. Now let's move on to something that affects you and your wallet. Did I mention I sell wallets? Link below. Anyway, the bill includes an extension on the expanded unemployment insurance. Now this benefit is basically $600 per week that was added to the unemployment insurance that people get from their states, okay? That's what was already in the CARES Act. So anyone who applies for unemployment who lost their job, right now they get an extra $600 per week. And it's really helped some people out because it means people on average incomes who lose their job will at least get pretty much their whole paycheck. Actually, some people on lower incomes are taking home more money than they made at their jobs. And that has drawn some criticism, but you know, it's hard to figure it out without that happening in some cases. Anyway, this expanded unemployment insurance from the first CARES Act was actually set to expire at the end of July, but this bill would extend it all the way through until January 31st, 2021. And it would also make freelancers and other self-employed people eligible to receive the benefit. Now that'll no doubt come as a relief to some people who don't know when they're actually going to be heading back to work. They could be unemployed beyond the end of July, and also obviously to freelancers and self-employed people who weren't eligible for it in the first place. Next, the bill includes $10 billion in grants for small businesses, and this is because many larger companies did get access to Paycheck Protection Program funds. That was the loan, the forgivable loans that the government was giving out so that companies could pay their workers. It was supposed to be for small businesses, but a lot of larger companies did actually get funds, so this is a specific $10 billion in funding for small businesses. And then there is the much anticipated second stimulus check. Now, this check would be for the same amount as last time, $1,200 for individuals, and it is a one-off payment. So all those proposals for, you know, $2,000 monthly payments, etc., I think they were just really pushing the envelope, asking for a lot, and then, you know, when the Democrats brought it back in and just asked for $1,200, the Republicans are like, phew, we can accept that, all right? Because they were asking for like $2,000 a month in many of these bills that we reported on, okay? So stimulus check, same amount as last time, $1,200 per month. It would be $2,400 for married couples, okay, married filing jointly. There are a few differences though. So for dependents, in the original CARES Act, you got just $500 per dependent. This would increase it to $1,200 per dependent. And also now it's not just dependent children, but any dependent, okay? So dependent children will be under 17s. It has been expanded to any dependent. So kids who go to college, whose parents still list them as a dependent on their tax return, they would get stimulus checks now, and that was quite a big criticism that people had in the first bill. And the maximum number of dependents as set out in this bill would be 3. So if you have a family of 10, sorry, you're out of luck. We can't help you. And in case you're wondering, this means that the maximum amount of money a family could get in a stimulus check would be $6,000, so 2 adults and 3 dependents. The income thresholds for this are also the same as in the first CARES Act, so individuals could earn up to $75,000 and still get the full check. Married couples could earn up to $150,000 a year and still get the full check, and head of the household could earn $112,500 and still get the full check. Now, there's another clause in this bill as well to protect your stimulus money from seizure by debt collectors, okay? So in the previous CARES Act, there was nothing to protect you from, let's say your stimulus money is paid into a bank and you actually owe that bank money, okay? That bank in the previous, under the previous bill, there was nothing to protect you from them just taking that money to pay back that debt, although several banks did say that they wouldn't, and several states brought in, laws banning it, but actually there was nothing in the federal law to protect you from that. Well, in this new bill, there would be. Now moving on to a few more things that will be beneficial for the average person, and then at the end, I'm going to tell you whether I think this is going to pass or not. So the first of these extra few things would be a 12-month freeze on evictions. And this also includes a freeze on repossessions of vehicles that are used as dwellings, okay? So if you live in a van and you don't pay your loan payment, that car cannot be taken, that van cannot be taken from you for 12 months. And then obviously if you live in a house, you don't pay the mortgage, you wouldn't be able to be evicted for 12 months, same as if you rent. There's also a section called Pandemic Premium Pay for Essential Workers. This raises the hourly wage of essential workers by $13 an hour. This is quite amusing because it's $1 more than what Mitt Romney proposed in his so-called Patriot Pay proposal. Kind of funny that they're doing that, just $1 more, a little dig at Mitt Romney there. And then lastly, the HEROS Act would extend student loan forgiveness, both federal and private, until September 2021. Now, previously, federal student loans, had been given forgiveness for several months, but this would extend that and add in private student loans all the way until into next year. And it would also forgive $10,000 worth of student loan debt per person as well. Now, guys, what I've given you is a quick run through, kind of like a first look. Obviously, we could go into a lot more detail, maybe we will in future videos. There is 1,800 pages to go through, but my most important question here is, can this pass? Well, can it pass the House? First of all, I think it probably can. The House say that they want to vote on this on Friday, which is, pretty quick, and it's a Democrat-controlled House, so they probably can pass it. But the more crucial question, can it pass the Senate? I would say probably not, at least not in its current form. Mitch McConnell, the Republican leader in the Senate, has already said in reaction to this that he doesn't see the urgency with passing this now, and also that if we go forward together, meaning that the next bill needs to be a bipartisan bill, kind of like the last few coronavirus aid bills were. Several Republican senators have also flat out just said that this will not pass the Senate. And that was also my prediction from my previous video on this. Don't be too worried about that though, because it's a good starting point, okay? So you can look at this as kind of like a Democrat wish list and a point to start from in the negotiations. And what may happen is that the Republicans may do their own bill, or they may sort of merge this with what they want, take some things out, add some things in, and create a new bill that can actually pass the Senate. And now just lastly, I'll take you through a few items from this bill and tell you what I think is good and what I think is going to be problematic. So first of all, the stimulus check amount, I think that's fine. I think that's great. Although it's obviously not as much as some people hoped for, because, everyone wants free money. You won't say no to free money. I don't blame you. I wouldn't say no to it either. But you got to be rational about it. What's realistic, okay? You can't bankrupt the country just to give everyone $2,000 a month. So setting it at the same level as the previous stimulus check, I think that's something that Republicans probably could accept. Extending the enhanced unemployment insurance past July, that extra $600 a week, I think that's a good idea because obviously many people still will be unemployed after July. The economy is going to take a while to get back into shape, get people re-employed. Whether Republicans will allow it to go on into early next year, I don't know. They might shorten it, but I don't think that would be cancelled out completely. But now we'll get into some things that I think could hold this bill up. So the aid to states is very, very high. I don't think Republicans are going to agree to that. Then there is also funding for vote by mail in this bill. Republicans, I seriously doubt, will agree to that. Trump has already come out and said, vote by mail, it allows people to cheat, in his opinion. I'm not going to give you any opinion on that. You can make up your own mind, but I'm just giving you the facts. And then also there is no payroll tax cut in this bill, and Trump has said that he will only sign something that includes a payroll tax cut. So do I think that something will pass eventually? Yes, I think it will, but I think it's going to be merged with some things that the Republicans want, like payroll tax cuts, etc. And it's going to have some of the things from this bill taken out or drastically watered down. And it's also not going to be that quick. I would say it's going to be the end of the month before we see something actually going through the House, Senate, and being signed by the president. Guys, if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel for more credit cards, personal finance videos almost every day. And leave your thoughts about this bill. Are you hopeful? What will you spend your second stimulus check on? Also, if you want to get a free stock valued up to $1,400 just for opening a brokerage account and funding it with Webull, the link for that is below. They're an excellent stock brokerage, so if you're into stock trading, investing, etc., I do thoroughly recommend them. Thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.